what baggage, what stuff are you carrying with you when you move into 2022? Because it's time to release the past. When things no longer serve you, when things have become burdensome, overwhelming, hectic, chaotic, when they no longer fulfill you, when they don't bring you joy and they don't align you to what you want, where you want to be, what inspires you and aspires you to be great, then we got to sit down and talk. It's time for you to take a look at what's been slowing you up. I understand we've had circumstances, conditions, things that have been out of our control. And life has thrown many people curveballs. So maybe you're not where you want to be, and I get it. And maybe you have a goal, but it just doesn't seem to be clicking. It's not coming. So how can we take the position we're in now and move forward? What do we have to do? Because I've talked to so many people across the world, and many people are telling me, but Sarah, I'm doing everything I can. I am showing up for job interviews. I have one lady, I think she must have sent out 150 resumes. And she's going on interviews. It's not like she's not marketable, but just they're not taking her. And sometimes it's something going on with inside of you, a vibration that you're sending out, something that's not clicking with people, even though you read great on paper. Sometimes it's just not the right time. The universe doesn't have that opportunity for you, even though you think you want that opportunity. There's a better one coming. So how can we release the things that no longer serve us, throw our cares away? How can we let go of the past, let go of past hurt and resentment and regret? How can we let those go? Because those things, those experiences, those feelings, those emotions, those bags of rocks, so many words I could use in there, but we'll say rocks on national radio. Those bags are burdens for us. And I don't know how to describe a feeling of emptiness to you verbally, but I want you all to think back to that time when you had a pit in your stomach, when you just knew like you knew something wasn't right, and you knew like you knew it didn't feel good, and you felt anxious and anxiety-ridden or overwhelmed, or you went to sleep just feeling like something was coming and you couldn't put your finger on it. When we carry resentment, regret, hurt, pain, anger, when we carry these emotions from this year, last year, the year before, the year before, the year before, the year of the flood, from Noah's time, however long you've been on the planet, whatever you've been doing, everything that you carry with you, that is not a high vibrational feeling, that is not a feeling of divinity and love. These things systematically weigh you down. They systematically detract from the intentions and the vibrations that you're sending out on the seemingly well-meaned intention, high vibrational, I'm being spiritual experience. So how many of you have done so many things for the law of attraction, manifestation? How many of you have done your mantras, done your self-talk, done your I am decrees, done your prayers, showed up at church, showed up at temple, did acts of kindness, did everything you thought you needed to do to increase your vibration? Now, wherever you are, if you're driving, then just raise a finger with one hand still on the wheel and the other half of the hand on the wheel. If you're sitting at home or watching this, then raise your hand. Because no matter what we all do, we all carry a small amount of hurt and pain. And some of you, it's greater. Some of us have little pebbles inside of past experiences, and others, well, we've got boulders and we're lugging them around. And because we're taught to survive in the world, and we had the best training in 2020 and 2021, how to survive. But many of you have survived many things beyond these past 2 years. So we've had to what? Push it down, push it down, push it down, push it down. That was then, this is now. I got to survive. I got to keep going. I can't worry about when I was bullied when I was 12. I can't worry about my parents' poor parenting skills. I can't worry about the fact that I have a very comparing mind and I don't feel comfortable with who I am. But I push through and I put on this false persona of who I am because I need everybody to like me, care for me, want to be around me because I have to prove my worth somehow. And sometimes I find myself doing things I don't want to do just because I need to please people. How many of you can say yes to that? And I need to be a people pleaser. And I really don't have a purpose. I really don't have a mission. I'm just trying to get to a level of what I want, but I don't really have a clear picture because every time I think I'm close to what I want, something wobbles inside. Any of you can relate to that? I'm paraphrasing. I'm retelling stories that I've heard day after day, year after year, of people who have sat and lived their lives according to what they thought they needed to do to survive. And some of the best well-meaning spiritual people on their journey have seen before them the wonderful gifts that they possess, and they see where they want to take them. And no matter what happens, Jiminy Crickets, it just doesn't line up. Why is that? Well, not everybody is meant to walk the same identical path. So you can't look to someone else and say, well, they have it, they've accomplished it, I can do that. Because their version and your version will be different because we are all unique individuals. But what you will see and you will feel and you will understand is that the path for you that is laid out before you also includes all the things that you've been pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And just moving forward by pushing down at the same time. Let's think of Frank Sinatra. He has that line, regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do. I saw it through without exemption. So he did everything. He saw it through. But what he says in the song is he did it his way. I did it my way. And you can do it your way, but you have to do it in an evolved way. Because your way is a trained, conditioned way of how you are taught to experience life as opposed to being and being fully present. Having the ability to sit fully present and hear conversations and feel conversations and be present in your work that you're doing and disconnect from outside chatter and things that are not conducive to what you're trying to create. And also having the time and making the time to speak to yourself and see what part of you is not feeling well. And there's been such publicity around mental health and depression. There's been a lot of talk about how we can cope and a lot of techniques that have been put out into the public that we can use. So if any of you are suffering from depression, loss, sorrow, grief, addiction, then please seek the help of professionals. I think everyone can use someone to talk to. But there's a part of you that first has to recognize what's broken. When was the first time you didn't feel like you deserved everything that you've ever wanted? And who do you blame for that? Who are you holding accountable for that experience? And have you let it go? Have you forgiven them? Oh yeah, we talk, we're fine. No, you're not fine. If you're not feeling this energy of freedom from that experience, if that self-talk still whispers, then you haven't closed that chapter in your underlying story. And, we're always reprogramming and programming our experience. Our mind is a computer. We're constantly creating a new story. But then there's the other programs that are running. Have you ever had so much stuff running on your phone, your iPhone, your Samsung Galaxy, and you have to swipe to get rid of some because your phone's moving so slow? I want you to imagine that as you're constantly programming all these new experiences and programming new ideas and inspired moments and having new conflicts and new less than perfect moments, and then great meetings and great happenings of new people in your life and maybe a new job opportunity or taking on a new study for a new career. What makes someone fail a test when they've studied and they know the material? What makes someone leave one job that they think is a better job, but then they find out that it's the same story, just with a different room, a different environment? It's that underlying programming that's there. And we have to peel back the layers and we have to look at that, because these feelings block us. So if you're setting intentions for 2022, which I encourage you all to do, and if you're feeling like when you look back at 2020, 21, go back 15, 16, 17, 18, look at the years. Are you still trying to manifest the same dream? Have you made any changes to your life to facilitate the manifestation of the dream? If you haven't, what's gotten in your way? And if you have, how far did you get? And then what was the trigger or the feeling that pulled you back? Why aren't you where you wanted to be? And what are you allowing to be a hindrance or an excuse to prevent you from going where you want to go? And then at the end of the day, I ask you this question: who inside of you, what part of you, what aspect of you really doesn't feel like you could have it all? Like you can handle it? How does that feel inside of you? I think we all remember the first time we really got in trouble as a kid. Like someone really lost it on us or said we shouldn't have done that, and maybe we got time out or we got grounded. I'm sure we all remember that. Or for those of you who are a little bit more seasoned on the planet, maybe you had to go sit in the corner. And even in school, they used to make you sit in the corner. I heard they made you sit in the corner in front of the whole classroom. How humiliating is that? And then when was the first time you ever got bullied? Do you have a memory of people doing something to you when you were at school? I remember being on the school bus, coming home from Catholic school. I don't know what made it happen, but I remember one girl just slapped me. I was like, okay, I don't remember the story, but I remember that moment. And yeah, she was some kind of tough girl, but those are the things that hold us back, and they block us later on. Because you maybe don't find your voice, you don't find your truth. Now, that didn't amount to much for me in my story, but I remember that happening. So we all have memories of things that happened. My favorite story to tell is Sister Sophie, basically sitting there thinking, no, we cannot let her take the algebra regents. That's just not happening. We're going to give her a special test. Special test. I didn't take the regents. I just took the exit exam for the class. I passed the class, but they just knew that was not my forte. But I always remembered Sister Sophie saying that, and my feeling like I wasn't smart enough. And my not really caring about math anyhow, but I still wish I didn't feel like I wasn't smart enough. Has anyone ever made you not feel smart enough? But I remember really laughing when I closed $16 million deals and I was figuring out my commission all by myself. I was like, Sister Sophie, look at me now. I was like, hey. So we have memories, and some we can joke about and work through. Most certainly my inability to do algebra did not define me. Really couldn't care less. In Catholic school, they make you care, but I didn't care. And to my great chagrin, and it was a nightmare at first, I go to college, from Catholic school to a musical college. That was weird in itself, from one to another. But then I want you to imagine I'm sitting there and I'm in what we call solfeggio class, which is how they teach you how to be an orchestra conductor and the time behind music. And what do you think the whole thing is? Fractions. I was like, Lord, 3/4 time, 1/8 time, 1/16. Oh, I'm in trouble now. And I had to wrap my head around that. So even then, the old programming was coming up. Oh, no, this is not your forte. How are you going to figure out how many beats are in a measure? You're in trouble, SarahSpiritual. And then the teacher, mind you, I was taught by nuns, is skipping around the classroom like singing "Doe a Deer." It was crazy. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get out of this? But you learn to cope. And so some things are just markers in time. But then there are other moments where people you really care about, when you're growing up, don't believe in you, or they're not available for you emotionally, or they hurt you. I was doing a session with someone earlier today, and she shared with me a horrific moment of discipline from her father, a little over the top. Back in those days, I guess, nothing was really done about something like that. So many of us have these stories, these hidden stories behind the scenes that nobody ever knows. You wear your smile and you put on your happy face and you go to work and you live your life. And then you vow to be a better parent, a better friend, a better coworker than what you experienced. But that programming is still there. So why am I talking about this in December in the month of Falala? Because we can dress the tree up, we can put the lights on. We can even give out presents and kind of build our own little nook of campfires and marshmallows and kind of connect and feel aligned in a celebratory way. But inside, who's not really there? What part of you is not fully present? And what do you have to do to bring it forward? Because this is the perfect time. Before we sit down and we break bread over the rest of the holiday season, before we open up a new year, a lot of us clean out closets. We get ready for New Year by organizing our houses. Everyone's got their little rituals to ring in the new year. But the first house cleaning has to be internal. And even if, for a start, you write down all the things that hurt you that you remember, and then you think of all the reasons why that's not true. That's not who you are. That was a reflection of where that person was when they said or did what they did. No adult has the right to harm a child. No child has the right to bully another, but we do know that there's cruelty. And another person's actions do not define you, do not define your worth and who you are and the beauty that is you, the gifts that you are. And even if you grew up in lack is not something you have to carry on through your generation and the generations to come. You don't have to think in poverty thinking. You don't have to worry that there won't be enough. Because there's all this programming that is continually being fed into our minds, into our experiences every day. You see it in the news. You read it online. You see it on people's Facebook feeds, their Instagram feeds, their Twitter feeds. Everyone's expressing themselves, which is beautiful. But not everybody's expression is your reality. It's a perception of their reality. And you are your own unique, divine, sovereign being that truly is here to enjoy life and to celebrate and to feel the joy and the harmony within and to look at things that are out of alignment, out of harmony, that do not bring you joy, and in a very direct way, choose to change. Choose to let go of those ways and see what adjustments you can make. And we understand not every adjustment can happen overnight. If you have a job, you can't wake up and say, take this job and shove it because you need a job. You can't just move forward and skip that job. You have to show up for work. So you show up for work, but you set an intention, you set a plan, you make something magical happen in your mind, in your being. And all the while, when something comes up and says, well, I don't know if that's going to work, you've tried other things, everything you've ever tried, you've failed at, why are you going to try this? You have a talk with yourself. You literally sit yourself down and say, okay, where did that begin? And if you can't get to the root, if you can't let it go, after you've written it on your paper and you've released it and you've spent a little time with this is worth the time, my friends. We do not want a repeat of where we've been. If you take that time and you feel still unsettled, then you seek additional help. And there's no stigma on that. You go to counseling, you go to therapy, you seek someone, the guidance of a pastor, someone. You come to me. Wherever you feel safe and secure, that's where you go. And you learn to identify the line between who you are and who people made you feel and believe you are. Because they become so easily blurred that after a while we don't know who we are. And we live our lives by someone else's story. We live our lives by the sediment of the pain that has built up as residue inside of us. And we become reactory and we're not present. We're not expressive. We're not in joy. We're not feeling the feeling of what it takes to be the magnificence that is you. And yes, life will throw us curveballs, and there's some things that come out of left field and we cannot expect them. And those are some of life's tests. But when you know who you are, you will rise above them. How many people have been unjustly fired, had difficulties in their workplace? How many people have had difficult marriages and relationships? How many people have been with difficult personalities in their lifetime? How many people have had something tragic happen to them? Did they make that happen? No. But then there's a part underneath that expects something bad to happen, and it just keeps attracting more uncomfortable experiences, some more tragic than others. I hear people say, oh, something bad happened. They usually come in threes. No. One bad thing happened. Forget it. It's done. Don't focus on what you don't want. Focus first and foremost on how unique and magnificent and beautiful and glorious you are. And how blessed you are. And that the beauty that is you can have everything and do anything you desire. And that those things that have held you back need not hold you back yet another year. That you can choose to change and release the past, release the regret, release the hurt. Right? Regrets, we've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. You've got to do it your way. Because your way, from your heart, from your soul, is part of the divine plan. Your way, God's way. Right? It's like ordering a burger. You can have it your way. You can have life your way. You just have to choose that. And when the whisper says, it can't be, it's not possible, and you're not good enough, you say, no, you fooled me before, but no, this time it's my turn.